What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. As always, I want to remind you guys that if you want to show love to this channel, there are links in the description box where you can show love and donate to Too Raw for TV. Now, I want to acknowledge Town Biz and Ticket TV. They both did videos talking about this, and this is just some. I don't know how to describe this. Like, shocking might not be the right word, but it is shocking, depressing, because it just shows how far our society, and I don't even mean just America, I mean globally, has devolved into something that's starting to resemble like the old Wild Wild West, man. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, but I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are aware now that Boston Red Sox, well, former Boston Red Sox slugger and future Hall of Famer David Ortiz was shot in the Dominican Republic, apparently after leaving a club. I think it was him and a friend of his. At this point, authorities still don't know the exact motive, but you have to think that I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speculate because it's not right for me to do that. Um, but the good news is the bullet went through his back and exited out of his stomach, but apparently it didn't do too much damage. As we all know, a bullet wound like that can do a lot of damage. Number one, as far as exiting through the stomach, and I have some medical knowledge, but I'm not a doctor, by no means a nurse, by no means. But I do know there's a lot of vital internal organs in your stomach. We've all heard about how dangerous and deadly a gut shot can be. And you have so many organs down there, so that you run the risk of severe damage to vital organs, um, infection, bleed outs, things of that nature. So apparently, this bullet did not do too much damage in that uh, regard. So that's good. Also, the bullet apparently didn't hit his spine, which of course could have caused paralysis. So that's great news. I think his friend of his that was shot, they said the bullet went straight through, so therefore he may not require surgery. David Ortiz, of course, had to have surgery, but he's stable, and that's good news. Okay, um, but I got to say this, man. What in the hell is going on in the Dominican Republic? We just had what, 3 or 4 cases of individuals, what was it, Americans who are visiting Dominican Republic who apparently have died from causes that are questionable, to say the least. Right now, you have David Ortiz and a friend of his who apparently were shot. I mean, like I said, I don't want to speculate, but this seems like possibly some. I don't think this was just random. I think this was a targeted, quote unquote, hit. By the fact that the motorist, who apparently later was apprehended, was targeting Ortiz and his friend. I don't know whether something happened in the club, but this is crazy. Another thing that's bothering me is that more and more celebrities are being targeted for extortion and violence. I just read about some rapper. I wasn't too familiar with him, but I think he was shot and killed in Maryland. I think his name was Trey the Kid. Shot and killed. And this stuff has to stop, man. You know, Fortunately, it looks like David Ortiz It's going to be okay. But this is a man, Ortiz, who is in his early 40s, still in the prime of his life. We shouldn't be having to talk about him in the past tense yet. Okay, there's too many instances where we've lost noble people due to their own, I know it sounds harsh, but their own stupid actions, like a Chris Farley. Okay, there are people that we've lost due to uh, tragic accidents, like a Roy Halladay, the pitcher. All right, and John Denver years ago. Maybe some of you guys don't remember him, but he was a musician. Um, but this situation, these types of situations where we've lost so many people due to senseless violence, just senseless violence. This has to stop. Like a Vernon Forrest, whose career was cut short due to uh, ridiculous gun violence down in, I think it was Atlanta. A Turu Gotti, who had his life snuffed out. I believe he was murdered. Okay, I know they said it was inconclusive, but the man apparently, according to his friends, had no reason to kill himself. Steve McNair, murdered, murdered. You know what I'm saying? Great, great quarterback, the Tennessee Titans for years. These types of things have to stop, and you know, unfortunately, it is prominent in our community. But you know, I have the belief that Big Poppy, he'll pull through. He'll be okay. I'm gonna tell you something too about this guy, man. As a baseball player, just focus on baseball player for a split second. David Ortiz is one of the great clutch performers I have ever seen in baseball. I think he's right up there with Reggie Jackson as the greatest offensive clutch performers that we've witnessed. He's right up there. And if it wasn't for David Ortiz, the Boston Red Sox would not have won those three World Series titles during his tenure there. I remember when David Ortiz first came into the major leagues, he was with the Minnesota Twins, and he didn't look like the type of guy at that time. He looked like he was going to be a fine player, but the way that he developed into the player that he became with the Red Sox was extraordinary. And I looked at his career numbers just now before I did this video. 286 career batting average, 541 career home runs. I think he had, let me check again. I just looked at his RBIs. Let's see. Um, yeah, 1,768 career RBIs. And the crazy thing about it, he hit over 308 times in his career. And his last year, his swan song, right? He played so well that there were calls for him to like. Do you really think that you need to retire? Because there were some signs that he might have been slowing down last couple of years. But his last year, he had a tremendous year. He almost hit 40 home runs, led the majors in doubles, led the majors, or at least the league, in RBIs, led the majors in slugging percentage. You know what I'm saying? Had 315. He had a tremendous year for. I think that's the best season ever for a 40-year-old player. So it's like this guy could have kept playing for several years. He could still be playing. You know, but he decided he maintained that that was going to be his last year. But prayers to David Ortiz, man. I think he's going to be fine. In my opinion, I think he's going to be great. He's a warrior. He's a strong guy, and I hope the guy who shot him. I hope they did catch him, and I hope he gets prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law because it was senseless, a senseless act for him to commit that could have been as bad as it is. It could have had an even worse outcome than what we are seeing. And this type of shit has to stop, man. That's all I got to say, man. Tell me what you guys think.